Okay guys, if you saw part 1, after 6 years we traded our 2016 F150 in for this 2022 F150. The 16 had the 110 convenience receptacles, as does this 2022. The only difference being, in the 2022 Ford, they've never worked. In the 2016, we charged everything we needed and never had a problem. Yes, I am taking this back to the dealer under warranty, but the problem is I had to schedule this for over a month away. Sheesh. At this time, I'm unhappily running in limp mode, using the 12-volt power and the Wotobe adapter to charge small devices like phones, tablets, and drone batteries, but I need 110. Today, I am back from Texas, and I'm going to start troubleshooting. Let's do this right. Step 1, I will consult the owner's manual. Information is under auxiliary power points. In my case, the 12-volt DC power works just fine, so I'm going to skip to the 110-volt 400-watt capacity AC power outlet. I will give it to the engineers at Ford or whoever wrote this manual. It's just not very clear. It states, when the indicator light located on the power outlet is on and the light is solid, the power outlet is available, or the plugged-in device is within the power range and does not exceed the outlet's power limits. Okay, that's sort of valuable. Next, the manual indicates 3 flashes and off. The power outlet is overloading. Okay, I would understand that to be more than 400 watts or roughly 3 amps. Good information. The next entry in the manual indicates off. The power outlet power supply is off. The ignition is not on. Okay, that is what the engineers are telling me. If the LED indicator lamp is off, then the ignition is not on. This must be a sensing circuit somewhere. We'll see. And lastly, constant flashing. The power outlet is in a fault mode and requires you to restart your vehicle. I'm guessing the restart would clear any trouble codes and internally resets the inverter if it is cool. Okay. The LED status information in the manual is very lacking. I only get 3 options. On, PowerPoint is working. Off, PowerPoint is off or no device is plugged in. Or flashing, the PowerPoint is in a fault mode. The problem I have is when I start the truck, sometimes I get only a single flash and the receptacle does not work. Or sometimes I get no flash at all and the receptacle doesn't work. Or other times I get 2 flashes and the receptacle doesn't work. It seems like the flashes would be consistent, and the owner's manual doesn't cover these alternate flash codes. What gives, Ford? Okay, so I have no power to the receptacle. Let's see if I have 12 volts DC supplied to the inverter. So the first thing I want to confirm is that I have at least 12 volts supplied to the inverter. I disconnect the 2-wire input connector, start the truck, and then measure. I'm getting almost 15 volts supplied, so I'm pretty sure that the problem isn't one of supply. But since I'm taking the truck into Ford service, I also want to check all of the fuses under the hood. It looks like the underhood fuse box has fuses 32, 33, and 34 protecting the power points. This should be easy enough. Getting into the underhood fuse panel is easy, and if you have a blown fuse, Ford conveniently identifies fuse types on page 481, at least in my manual. I can see right away that the fuses I need to check are the slotted M-class fuses. These are designed to accept inrush currents such as motors starting up, maybe an inverter. Although there is a checking window in the cap, to actually test these I'll have to remove them. And just a note, there are different variations of M-class fuses. If the M-class is unslotted, these are rated to 40 amps max, and they made up with the smaller 2.8 millimeter male terminals. Those that are slotted, they're rated for up to 60 amps, and they have larger 6.3 millimeter male terminals that they accept. And when the amperage is listed twice on the cap, just oriented differently, these are normal temperature fuses. But when you see the amperage listed on the cap along with the letters HT, these are high temp fuses and they have a less voltage drop where necessary. A common misunderstanding is that the M in M class refers to medium. Actually, it is a technology that creates a new type of alloy with very specific properties. This isn't your granddad's fuse. You can visually check the fuse through the clear plastic cap and the side, but sometimes these do get a little clouded. And me, I just like to check the current path myself. My probes won't fit into these M-classes slots, but there's an easy enough workaround. Just simply get a couple of ring terminals, slide them into the slots. All three of my fuses tested good. But just to be sure, I took my circuit tester and tested each micro and mini fuse, all the fuses. They all tested good except for two 25 amp fuses that appear to be numbers 15 and 63. If these fuses were blown, I think I would have gotten a signal on one side but not the other, but in this case there was no power on either side. But just to be thorough, after checking all of the under hood fuses, I also checked the body control fuse panel in the cab. All of these fuses were good also, except for one 5 amp fuse, number 30, that did not signal, but it shows as not used in the manual. Basically, I'm satisfied. All of my fuses are okay, and whatever the problem is, it's not a fuse problem. I don't know why, just as a curiosity, whatever, I searched for the Ford Pigtail wiring guide, thinking I may want to replace the inverter with a pure sine wave or something, and not change the factory wiring, or I might just want to make a test connector. Either way, I can share that information with you guys. It may help somebody. I found the inverter listed in the index as shown here, but when I looked it up, no go. Wrong part. So I counted the cavities and came up with 12 and searched that way. I found it here in section 34. It's WPT 396. Perfect match, keyway and all. But what about this power out? Taking a look at the diagram, I see fuse number 36 is a 60 amp fuse from the battery junction box, hot at all times, but I already know that I'm getting power to the inverter, so I skip this one and go directly to the inverter receptacle circuit. At least from the inverter, line 1 and neutral, I don't see any overcurrent or short circuit protection of any kind. I'm guessing that this is built into the inverter, at least if I take the F150 manual at its word. Just for fun though, I'm going to plug a 110 volt receptacle tester into it, see what it says. When I start the truck, sometimes I get a brief flash from right to left. Other times I get only a single flash in the center or nothing at all. Honestly, I didn't expect much. I know I don't have power already, and because this is on an inverter circuit, there is voltage on both the line and the neutral. I'll explain more of that later. One thing I have not done is reset the battery sensor. On the F150, it's conveniently located on the negative battery terminal. On other models, it may be located nearby. I don't know that it has anything to do with the inverter not working, but there's a possibility that if there is a battery problem, state of health or something, then the inverter may not get a command to start up or a command to stand down. Resetting the battery sensor is really easy. Page 495 of my manual. You just turn the key to the accessory position, or for push button starts, don't press the brake and just push the start button. The truck should not start. Flash your high beams 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Push the brake pedal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Watch for the battery lamp on the dash, and don't be impatient. It may take 10 to 15 seconds, but it will flash. Once it remains solid, your battery sensor has been reset. If you want to know more about the battery management system, Ford has provided a video. A link is in the description. Okay, let's see if this has fixed my inverter problem. For a load, I'm going to use a simple lamp. It doesn't care about frequency or if the wave is a little bit dirty. Let's see what happens. But first, I want to test my bulb on a known good circuit. Looks good so far. Now the truck. And still no go. Still no good. It is still possible that the BCM and the inverter communicate and there is something wrong with the BCM, but I'm still betting on the inverter. Let's check out Ford's diagnostics, Pinpoint Test A. I'll post the link to Ford's online subscription service in the comments. The symptoms, they partially match. The PowerPoint LED flashes with the key in the on position, or there is no power at the AC power point. Nothing that I've plugged into these ports has come anywhere near exceeding 400 watts or 3 amps. But this pinpoint test lists the possible causes of the problem as fuses, wiring terminals or connectors, the DC to AC converter, and the AC power point. Basically, I think I've eliminated the fuses and the connectors. There may be some bad internal connections or wiring from the factory, but I'm going to let Ford determine that, as the truck is still under warranty. Continuing on with the visual and pre-checks, we verified that any device being used in the AC outlet is rated at less than 400 watts. Check. Verify that the cabin temperature is less than 167 degrees Fahrenheit. It's October. Check. Verify that the body control module fuse 35, 5 amps, is okay. Check. Verify that the battery junction box fuse 36 is okay. So, to be honest, Ford calls it the battery junction box in the diagnostics. I believe it's fuse 36 in the body control module. I can't find another fuse 36. If you know something different, help all of us out and leave a comment. The final step is to check the LED status. Is it flashing? Yes, go to Pinpoint Test A2. Flashing? No, go to Pinpoint Test A7. Test A7 is simple. Ignition off, open the driver door, connect an extension cord to the IP outlet, connect a 200 watt appliance, ignition on, and monitor for 30 seconds. Does the appliance start up? I really hate to waste the time, but gotta be thorough. So, nada, nothing. Guess we'll skip to test A10. The steps are simple enough. Ignition off, disconnect the IP, AC outlet, disconnect the DC to AC converter, and then measure in ohms, which indicates to me that they're looking for an open or a reason for a high resistance circuit. Which brings me to a dilemma. While it's easy enough to remove the AC outlets and disconnect them, the truck is under warranty still. So I don't want to do anything that may void my warranty. At this point, I'm just going to wait until my appointment with the dealer this Tuesday, 11 October. I'll keep you updated. In the meantime, guys, if you've got questions or comments or can help us out with this, let me know in the comments. Until next time, be a good human. Take care.